It's funny how sometimes in these ancient stories, certain phrases just pop up again and again. It's easy to just read past them. But what if a simple detail, something that seems kind of random, is actually a key, a little signal that's inviting us to look a bit closer? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today, as we explore one of the most fascinating signals in the entire biblical narrative. So let's get right into it. Why this specific phrase, on the third day? I mean, it shows up at some of the most critical moments in the Bible. You really start to wonder, is it just a way of saying a few days later, a simple time marker? Or is there something much, much deeper going on here? That's the mystery we're going to try and unravel together.
Okay, so to really get a handle on what the third day might mean, we've got to back up a little and talk about the number 3 itself. See, in ancient Hebrew thought, numbers weren't just for counting things. Not at all. They had real symbolic weight. They were packed with meaning and could communicate some really deep ideas about how the world works.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Think of it like this. The number 1, well, that's simple. It's unity, wholeness. Then you get to 2. 2 introduces a difference, a duality, a tension between 2 points. But 3 is the game changer. 3 brings harmony. It's the number that resolves that tension. It's the third point that connects 2 separate lines, right? And suddenly you have a triangle, something whole, something stable. It's all about bringing things together.
And this idea of stability and wholeness, it's not just some abstract concept. It actually works its way into Jewish law. There's this principle called a chazakah. And what it means is that if you do something 3 times, it's considered established. It has a sense of permanence, of legal certainty. So the number 3 isn't just about harmony. It becomes deeply connected to truth and strength and things that are settled.
Okay, so if we hold on to that idea that 3 means harmony, permanence, something complete, we can go back to the text and start to see a really deliberate pattern take shape. It's fascinating, really. Scholars have noticed that the biblical authors use this number in a couple of very specific ways, and the exact wording they choose, well, it signals 2 totally different things.
And here's the distinction, right here. It's subtle, but it's so important. When the text uses the phrase 3 days, it's usually talking about a period of waiting. It's a time to establish that something is certain. For example, the certainty that someone is really dead, or that a situation has become absolutely hopeless. But when it says the third day, that signals something completely different. That's a specific point in time. It's the moment of climax, the moment of divine action, where everything is turned on its head.
Let's look at a few examples of that first one, the 3 days pattern. So in the book of Joshua, you have spies who hide for 3 days. Why? To be absolutely certain that their pursuers are gone. In 1 Samuel, there's a slave who hasn't had food or water for 3 days. That period of time establishes just how severe his condition is. He's at death's door. And think about Esther. She calls for a 3-day fast before she does something incredibly risky. That time establishes the gravity of the whole situation. See the pattern? In every case, 3 days confirms that things are what they are.
But now, look at the contrast when the wording changes to the third day. In Genesis, Abraham is traveling for days, heading towards this terrible sacrifice. And it's on the third day that he sees the place. And it's on that day that Isaac is spared. It's the moment of deliverance. Or Joseph's brothers, thrown in prison, their fate looks sealed, but on the third day, he lets them go. A total reversal. And King Hezekiah gets a death sentence from a prophet, but then God promises he'll be healed. And when will he go to the temple? On the third day. It's this unmistakable rhythm, crisis, followed by a sudden, decisive rescue.
Okay, so now let's see how this whole pattern, this rhythm of preparation leading to a powerful reversal, plays out on a massive scale. We're going to look at one of the most foundational stories in the entire Old Testament, the encounter at Mount Sinai. I mean, this is the perfect case study. It shows this third day idea in action, with a period of waiting that builds up to a moment that changes everything.
And if you look at the story in Exodus, it's laid out so clearly. God tells Moses exactly what to do. Day 1, go to the people and consecrate them, get them ready. Day 2, have them wash their garments. Again, another act of preparation. All of this waiting, all of this careful, deliberate activity is pointing toward one single epic moment. Why? Because on the third day, the Lord will come down. The whole sequence is built around it.
And you really can't overstate how serious this third day event was. I mean, God gives this command, take care not to go up into the mountain or touch the edge of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall be put to death. This wasn't some casual meeting. This was an encounter with pure holiness, with immense power. Those first 2 days of preparation were absolutely essential, because on that third day, the people were stepping into a completely new reality, into a sacred covenant that demanded their total reverence.
So once you start to see this pattern, this rhythm of crisis and deliverance, of preparation and a divine encounter, all happening on the third day, you start to understand what the biblical writers were doing. It wasn't just a literary trick. It was their way of weaving a thread through history, of connecting events across centuries, and pointing towards something bigger to come.
And the name for this way of seeing things is a concept called typology, and it's really a beautiful idea. Put simply, it's the belief that real people and real events in history, which we can call types, were designed to foreshadow a later, even greater person or event, the antitype. It's a way of reading history not as a string of random occurrences, but as one single unified story, with themes and patterns that echo and grow deeper over time.
So you can imagine the early Christians who knew these scriptures inside and out. They saw this third-day pattern everywhere. Isaac being saved from death on the third day, for them that was a clear foreshadow of resurrection. Jonah coming out of the great fish after 3 days and nights, another powerful echo. The prophet Hosea even talks about the restoration of the whole nation using this exact language. He will raise us up on the third day. These weren't just separate stories anymore. They were pieces of a much larger promise of ultimate deliverance.
And this is where it all leads. This is the culmination. The New Testament writers very deliberately frame the resurrection of Jesus not as some shocking, out-of-the-blue miracle, but as the final and ultimate fulfillment, the antitype of this ancient divine pattern. It's the moment where that theme of reversal, of life coming from death, which we saw in all those earlier stories, reaches its absolute climax.
So when we see the resurrection through this lens, it really does change things, doesn't it? It's not being presented as an isolated event that just happened. Instead, it's framed as the intentional conclusion to a story God had been telling for centuries, a pattern woven right into the fabric of history itself.
The scholar Richard Patterson puts it beautifully. He says, "The third day pattern is God's motif, meant to lead readers to its culmination in Christ. It's not a coincidence. For the biblical authors, it's a divine signature, left at these crucial moments to guide the reader along. It's almost like a piece of music, where you hear a theme repeated, building and growing, until it finally resolves in one last perfect chord."
Understanding a pattern like this just gives us a whole new set of eyes. It reminds us that sometimes the deepest truths aren't shouted from the rooftops. Sometimes they're found in these quiet, consistent patterns that echo through the ages. And it really does make you wonder, doesn't it? What other ancient patterns might be hiding there, right in plain sight, just waiting for us to find them in the stories we thought we knew so well?